Man, surfing is like kind of big in jiu-jitsu. Like
Right,
there's
right.
I don't know about like at the young like athlete level,
Yeah,
but definitely at the black belt level,
right,
especially the Brazilian black belt level.
right.
I've surfed with so many of these. Leo Vieira, he could surf. Like
Yeah,
he's a stud grappler, but he could surf. Buchecha,
right,
there's videos of him at Surf Ranch getting like in and out barrels, man.
right,
Like
right.
there's so many guys in like I think that's why a lot of them ended up like wanting to go out to Hawaii too,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. For
I think it's one of those things that I think it really works well with like the sensitivity. Like so you know how in jiu-jitsu like it's like the fast drill and everything.
right,
And then
right.
there's that flow of
Yeah,
like understanding where to put your weight and to lean on someone and to
yeah.
give way. That's all surfing. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: at what age did you start? You said you started skateboarding first, right? And
Yeah.
how did you? What age and how did you find skateboarding, or
Okay.
how did it find you? Should I say?
Sure. I was probably, dude, this is another heartbreaker, man. So I was probably about, I'd say around 8.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you a picture. I'm gonna find the picture so you can put it up if you want to find it.
Yeah, yeah.
And my cousin was from Venice Beach,
Hmm.
and he's 11 years older than me. So I'm born in 77, so he's born around 65, 66. And he grew up around like the Dogtown guys.
Yeah.
And so my first board, and this is crazy, right? I didn't even know what I had until all those Dogtown documentaries came out.
Yeah.
He went to where his mom lived, my aunt, and he would like teach me how to skate in Marina Del Rey. And so I just, tic-tacking and riding around, it was a double concave board, obviously. And I loved it. And I would just skateboard all around that. And then my grandfather lived in Whittier. And so my cousin gave me this Dogtown. It had like the little like roller skating trucks on it.
Yeah.
And it had like really big, like almost like clay wheels. And but the board was big. Like it
Yeah.
was a big flat board. And I would skateboard all around my grandpa's house and just learn how to ride off curbs. And I was a total like poser. Like I knew I wanted to surf and do stuff,
Yeah.
but we spent so much time at my grandpa's house in Whittier. We would go down to like my parents would be in Huntington, but I was actually like super scared of the water, but I just
Okay.
thought, oh, I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I would ride around his neighborhood just like trying to do power slides and roll off the curb and stuff. And then
Right.
later on, I met my friends in Huntington from elementary school, and I got like, more and more modern boards. They were still
Right.
probably like super wide. They're probably,
Yeah.
you know, but here's the sad part. That board, I left it at my friend's house. Something happened. I saw it like years later, and it was all beat to heck. And I remember it had clear grip tape with like the cross on it.
Yeah.
And that board, I'm like, oh, whatever. Like who cares? It's just an old junky board.
Yeah.
Then Dogtown Z Boys came out, and I'm like, whoa, that's what that means. It was
So
just,
how did you eventually end up transitioning into surf? Because you said that eventually you stopped.
yeah. So,
Was it
so I still skateboarded so I would say from the era of like late elementary school all the way up till probably the end of high school, I skated a lot.
okay?
And then around like junior high time, my dad, he bought me a shortboard. And of course, he didn't know what he was doing. He just got me
Yeah.
whatever I thought looked cool.
Right.
I couldn't serve this thing to save my life because I was riding a board that my friends who were already really good could
Yeah.
ride.
Right.
So I just make that link of, oh, that's what you ride.
Yeah.
So I struggled on that thing for a bit. And then I was just like, oh, I'll just boogie board.
Yeah.
And here's what's crazy was like, so back then in like the 90s, like bodyboarding was like so huge out here.
Right.
There was there was, I don't know if you remember those videos, Tom Doyle maybe
Yeah.
was.
Yep. I remember that.
And he had Go Down to Sandy. So those videos were
Yeah.
like huge out here. And then
Yeah.
they had those rock videos.
Yeah.
And so we would all bodyboard, but then I had some friends that were like, I had one group of friends that were like killing it, like the best surfers in Huntington in their age group. Then I had a group that I would say were like more like my really tight friends, and they ripped, but then they would do whatever. Like some days I remember Timmy would ride a longboard or Mark would drop me a boogie board. And it just so happened that demographic was like, again, that kind of dirt poor group that I hung out with.
Yeah.
And so we were really kind of just like, we would go skate, we'd go bodyboard. Sometimes those guys would surf, or sometimes those guys we'd go to the ledge or whatever. And it was more about like just having fun and not necessarily chasing like being like good or like getting a contest result or anything. Because most of these guys dropped out of surf class because surf class at Huntington, you gotta get there, I think, in like 5 o'clock or something.
Right. And
so a lot of the guys would like have an aspiration to do surf class, and then they do a heat or something, and they'd be like, and they'd kind of move along. Right. And so I bodyboarded most of the time from like junior high into high school. And then towards the end of high school, and I had no interest. Like I could stand up on a board. Yeah. I could probably go down the line, but I just didn't really care because I loved Mike Stewart. I was like, man, Mike Stewart's like the guy. And you had these Hawaiian guys like Aka Lyman was like super, super sick. Lanson Ronquillo, I think his name was.
Lanson ripped,
And do you remember that dude, Howley Reeves? He was super good. Yeah. You had all these guys in Hawaii just doing mental stuff. And this is before like Jeff Hubbard and those guys. And so I was just really, really into it. And then, but I would say I was still more into skating. Yeah. You know, like I still, in my mind, skating was more of an escape for me because I lived a little bit more inland than my friends that were at the beach. Right. And so we lived in this area called Slater Slums, which is like ridiculous. Yeah. Because it's what like the people were like the rich people in the Huntington call the area where all the like Mexican workers live. Right. But trust me, it's way better than half the spots in Long Beach. You know? But in their mind, it was like the slums. Right. And so I would go to my buddy's house, and he'd have like, we would just stash all of our stuff at his house, and he had a studio down right by the pier. And we'd go black ball days, we'd bodyboard and just go swimming and getting in trouble. And there was an arcade, so Street Fighter 2 was happening and all that. And that was like, to me, it was just like the funnest time of being young was going to the arcade and eating a giant tortilla because we could afford like 50 cents to get a green burrito sized tortilla. And like we just chomp on that and then surf bodyboard. But yeah, I didn't start surfing until the end of high school. Okay. And it was just because, like, I don't know why. I just kind of burned out on skateboarding, you know. Right. I was doing it a lot. I think I was getting really poor grades in school. And I had to, like, focus on, like, getting my act together just so I could graduate. Right. And in that phase, my parents actually ended up moving closer to the beach. Okay. And so they moved to like North Huntington, and I just ended up finally like getting a car, and I would just go surfing by myself all the time. And that kind of became my outlet because all those friends graduated ahead of me. Right. And I had to kind of make new friends my senior year. And they were all a bunch of like guys that weren't really into skating or anything. Yeah. But they would surf, like they would paddle out at least. So then surfing kind of took over from there. Right. You know.
Were you already surfing when you started working at Volcom?
Yeah, it was. So I went into that job with nothing but like delusions of like what the experience would be like. Yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, dude, it's gonna be rad. I'm gonna be getting like all this gear and stuff. Right, right. And it's all true, but I remember one time So we had this huge, like, basically an open floor area where we're all given a bundle of papers. So, like, it would say Surf and See, the Hollywood store, and you'd have to credit them, like, for a defective product or a missing order.
Right.
So eventually I learned how to do my job and credit them. And then you'd fill out the paper and you'd be done. And then the people in that environment were super nice.
Yeah.
So you had like Tara Bennett and Alex Coops or Roots or something. And these guys were just super nice guys, very helpful. They would take you out to dinner. Like Volcom would pay for your meals, and the surf industry is still kind of on the rise at that time.
Right. And
so it was great in that regard. But you'd be kind of stressing, right? Like you got a bundle full of work, and it's that type of work that makes you hate yourself, right?
Yeah.
The bundle's gone, and you get back from lunch, and there's a new bundle, right? And so you just want to get through your work, and you got people around you can kind of chit-chat with. But I remember one day, Bam Margera comes in there, and he's on, I want to say, like a tricycle or something. And he's just riding around, like, our is an open floor computers and stuff.
Yeah. And
he goes in the bathroom, and I think they had a shower in the bathroom. Then he comes out in a towel, and he's riding around this bicycle. So get the hell out of here, dude. I'm so pissed. My bundle keeps growing,
Yeah.
And I got this dude riding behind me on the tricycle, And I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, So I ended up, I quit that job, and I was originally going to just leave and go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting waitlisted like another 6 months. So I quit, and I had to work at Starbucks for a few months just to save up enough money, because I thought I had enough, but I didn't, kind of a thing. And then I finally had enough money, and I moved to Hawaii.
Okay.
So I was surfing a lot, and I looked at University of Hawaii, and they had this deal where, like, if you were from California, Oregon, or Washington, you could move out to Hawaii and pay 1.5 times the in-state tuition.
Okay.
And then for us, basically, when I moved out there, it was going to be cheaper than going to Cal State.
Okay.
So my parents were like, okay, you know what? If you can save up X amount of money,
right,
you could be able to help you with, like, some of your tuition and some of your books. And so because it was going to be cheaper than actually me staying at home.
Right.
And I was a total pain in the ass, so they didn't want me staying at home either.
Yeah.
So I moved out there for a few years, and I loved it. It was great. Yeah. Actually, it was the thing in my life that changed. My life is just about my family and our gym and stuff.
Right.
But it's the one thing I did. We all have these moments where it drastically changed the course of my life, which was just moving to Hawaii. I met my wife out there, and it just changed everything,
That's awesome.
Changed my perspective. It was rad.
Would you say that it had to do with the Hawaii culture, or was it just the experience, or what was it that you would say that makes you feel that way?
It's a little bit of everything. Number one, I'd say just leaving home and not and not having that parachute of family nearby or someone to kind of lean on to help you through stuff. That kind of helped me, at least, I'd say, break the umbilical cord, of, like, having to rely on that.
So you were saying, that you were training in the background and surfing in the background around that time. Were you still able to? I know you got to surf over there. Did you train while you were in Hawaii?
Yeah, a little bit. So I lived everywhere from the dorms to the apartments up there on Dole. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up getting our first off-campus apartment in Moiili. Mm-hmm. And you're right there, like in Macaulay.
Yeah.
So we were right there off of Macaulay and basically the freeway. And I had this little moped. And with the moped, all of a sudden, town opened up to me.
Okay.
I could ride that thing into Chinatown, or I'd take it down to that old Kmart that used to be out there.
Yeah.
And I could actually get around, which was great. And I'd just sit on a shortboard and surf, but then I was kind of missing jiu-jitsu. And at that time, like, so, you know, I started training just because I wanted to, like, learn how to win a fight. You know, if I'm in a fight, I'm a teenager. All that's kind of important in my teenage brain at the time. And then I left jiu-jitsu to go to college.
Right.
And when I started training out there, my whole reason shifted. Sorry, that's my little chihuahua.
No, it's okay.
I basically went back to jiu-jitsu at Todd Tanaka's in town at MHK.
Okay.
And I only trained just to meet people.
Right.
Because, like, I only hung out with the people from the dorms and those guys, and those were kind of becoming my friends, but still a very, like, small look at Hawaii. And then I knew some level of jiu-jitsu. I think I was a blue belt at the time.
Okay.
And so I just had my mom send my gi out, and I went over to Todd's, and I think I trained there, like, once every week or so, you know? Like, it was just strictly maintenance.
Right.
But, dude, Todd Tanaka is so sick. Like, he's so good at jiu-jitsu. And then I kind of met Eric Gu. I met him briefly in Hawaii, but we didn't really, like have an interaction. And then when I moved back to California is when I really got to know Eric Gu. Okay. And he moved out to California because he used to actually, I think, teach a class every now and then at Todd's.
Okay.
And he was a purple belt at the time and super good, like super accomplished. And so Todd was like, he's one of these guys that that more people should know. Like, I hear students sometimes get upset about the belts and everything. I'm like, man, Todd Tanaka probably trained 15 years before he got his black belt.
Right.
And he was good. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like 15 years because he's really not that good and he's not paying attention. No, he knows everything, and his core jiu-jitsu is at such a high level, and he's such a good student. And I know he has that restaurant out there now and stuff. So so we're still, like, in contact, you know. Cool. You know, I hear from him. I always mean to go to his gym when I go to Hawaii. Yeah, I go to Hawaii. I want to surf and eat a lot. Don't want to train that much. You know, that's like vacation. But Todd is an exemplary dude, and he exposed me. Like, he had this DVD of Roger Gracie and Jacare, who ended up being probably my two favorite grapplers of all time. Right. And I'm getting exposed to, like, jiu-jitsu in Hawaii. It was different because I started at Kleber's. And Todd was a Helson Gracie guy. Right. He knew so much more jiu-jitsu than I'd ever been exposed to. It was even today, dude, that guy, I guarantee knows way more jiu-jitsu than me. Right. So I think, like, jiu-jitsu's gotten really, like, spread out in Hawaii. Right. But at its core, it all comes back to that one gym. You know? I think it was somewhere down by, like, Ward Shopping Center. Okay. And it was rad. It was this weird, like, 2-story. It was an upstairs unit with mats. And there's all these videos of, like, Henzo and Half and Helson and Hickson and all these guys training there. And I know Henzo and Half were there before Henzo fought BJ Penn. Okay. You know, and so there's, like, just so much history in that whole gym. And then you got all the offshoots, the Barretts, Kendall Gu, you know, Kai Garcia. Like, everything is kind of coming out of a combination of that and the Gracie Humaita gym. Right. And by Helson, man, that guy really, I wish he still had his gym. Yeah. You know, it was such a, like, big deal, I thought, especially in that time. Oh, for sure. What year was that, by the way? This is probably from, like, kind of like 99 to 03, somewhere around there.
Okay.
You know, and then I left right after I graduated, and I think that was in the summer of 03.
Okay.
And I was heartbroken. I had to move back here.
I bet. The surfing and the jiu-jitsu and just the island lifestyle.
Hey, still my favorite wave of all time. I love Swallows.
Yeah.
I just love it. Like, I love the whole setup. It's super mellow. It could get really challenging. You can see great surfing like all day long. I used to see a little bald-headed Zeke Lau just shredding at Kiwalas every day. And I was like, oh, that kid's, you know, he looks like a little cholo kid actually out there, the big old black shorts and the bald head. And I had no idea he was going to blow up to who he was. But there's some uncles out there absolutely crushing it every single day.
Right.
And, you know, but everyone is always very cool out there. You know? Yeah,
it's a good vibe, man. There's always a lot of kids out there. That's where you'll find the next generation of rippers from Hawaii coming out of. Is Kiwalos. And that's where they're all at.
And their level, like, so when we lived out there, we'd surf concessions a lot. And there's phases. Like, I'd meet a guy that was all about Diamond Head. So you'd surf Diamond Head. Then I'd meet a guy that was all about concessions. And you'd hang out with a lot of people that were from where you're from. So you'd somehow meet everyone from Huntington Beach, would somehow end up in the same area.
Okay.
And then we'd all go to concessions and then Point Panic and all that. And we were just like mobbing up the whole like Ala Moana Beach Park all the time.
Right.
It was pretty great, you know.
That little stretch, man, from Kaisers to Kiwalos is just, you'll find the best surfers on the South Shore, you know, at those breaks. So, and that's where all the contests are held too. You know, back then they had the H-Pack for the high schools, and that would be held at bowls, you know. And then now it's like the Haasas and the NSSAs I don't know if they still have it there, but it'll be held between bowls and Kiwalos.
Bowls I never surfed it like where it looks like bowls in the video. Right. Because every time it was like that level, I would just go to Kiwalos.
Yeah.
I knew at bowls I wouldn't catch anything.
It'd be hard, yeah.
And so for us, it was like where we lived, it depending on the traffic, because they have that whole like counter traffic thing where you can't make right turns.
Right.
It was often easier for us to go to like the Ilokai and park over there by that little marina area and just do the long paddle out by like rock piles.
Yeah.
And I never went off of Magic Island and just swam the channel because it always just felt super sharky to me, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
That's like those guys that park over there at God, what was it called? On the other side of Kiwalos.
Point Panic, yeah. Panic. I do that paddle a few times.
Dude, that one, you talk about sharky, that one's sharky.
You know, there's a giant tiger shark that lives in
there. Yeah.
It's no joke. And a couple times we're like, because that paddle, I feel like it's shorter than the Bulls one. Yeah. And so I remember going like, there's no parking down at in Kiwalos parking lot.
Yeah.
And you could get plenty of parking down by Point Panic.
Right.
And I'm like, let's just go across. And you got the nice little stairway. Dude, I swear to God, as soon as you hit that water, you're thinking like, I'm going to get eaten by a shark right now. And if you're out there towards the end of the day, my buddy Brian DeGuro, you're paddling back across towards John Dominus.
Yep, John Dominus. That's what I was trying to think of.
And we're just like freaking out because we are having such a good time.
Yeah.
And we're just thinking like, dude, we're going to get eaten, man. And actually, the year before I graduated, I know some guy got the tail of his board bitten off by a tiger shark out there.
Okay. Not surprising.
Channel.
Not surprising. That's where all the commercial fishing boats come through. Is that Kiwalos Channel?
And you know what? I always love that. Like, so this is like, you know how we all have these visions of like a very fond, nostalgic memory.
Yeah.
One of mine, and I was telling Haley about this one day, is sitting out there at Kiwalos or swimming around Point Panic or whatever, and you see the boats come in, and they got the flags with like the Alua, and this guy got mahi or whatever.
Right.
And I always thought that was so cool that they'd come in and you'd be able to see like all their big catches.
Yeah.
And I thought that was something really fun. The guys on the boats would be yelling at people and like everyone's talking to each other back and forth, and that is like a nostalgia memory for me, is sitting out there and watching the boats,
come in and out. Yeah. Just try to cross the channel before that boat gets past you.
And I am a lazy paddler, so all of a sudden I have to turn into Laird Hamilton to make it across that channel.
Yep, haul ass back. So you moved back after you had a great experience in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
You moved back here to Huntington.
Mm-hmm.
Still surfing?
When I moved back, I was in a relationship now, and so Haley. So I met her in Hawaii, and then she lived with me for a summer, and then like the end of like a fall semester maybe.
Right.
And then she moved back to California with me, and at that time, so there's a little period where I was in Hawaii and she was in New York, and she went to NYU for a little bit.
Okay.
And she moved back to her folks' house in San Diego. And so a lot of the time I would just kind of drive back and forth between Huntington, my parents' house. I had to move back in with them. And we would just go kind of like commute back and forth.
Okay.
And I had like I had one of my boards from Hawaii, and I had like a beater board. And I think Haley got me like a Costco like counterculture board. And they had these like pop outs, and I'm like, fine, I'll ride that. It's like $150 or something, fiberglass board. I would surf this little 6.0 around Huntington. But I would say like between like moving back, I'd probably go out like every week or so, a couple times maybe. And then when the kids came, like when we had Ollie, I really didn't surf a lot.
Okay.
Like that was probably the time I surfed the least, is like between Ollie and Milo and just having the kids. And, and then when we opened up our gym, it was such a catastrophe for like a couple years.
Yeah.
I would say I turned into like, I would just surf randomly. And I'd always get in this pattern of surfing a lot, like in the summer and the spring and then the fall. But then once the water turned too cold, I would just snowboard.
Right.
And so that was kind of like my pattern. Even when I moved back, like I would surf only when it was comfortable.
Okay.
And then once I think I just got a little bit older and the kids got older, I just ended up surfing more all the time. I'm just like, I'll just go when it's freezing and chase down the lack of crowds,
So when you got back, you're traveling back and forth to see Haley in San Diego. Were you guys spending more time, or were you spending more time training at that point? Was that when you really got heavily into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, so once I moved back, I would say my whole focus was, so I went to grad school. And I did poli-sci because I originally planned on being a lawyer. Okay. And I did, when I started doing poli-sci, I thought, I do not want to be a lawyer. Okay. And it was definitely not what I was interested in. So then I kind of geared it towards like, I'll teach poli-sci. Okay. Because I actually like really enjoyed it. And then while I was doing that, I would say my timing was like, in school, I was probably like 70% there. my mind was like 100% on jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And I was just focused on getting better and training a lot and just rolling all the time.
Okay.
And I had a lot of friends in jiu-jitsu at that point. And surfing was just something I would just go do for like recreation again. Like, oh, I'll just go surf. And even now, like I still like jiu-jitsu is something like I have like a strong passion for.
Right.
But the thing with surfing is surfing is just there. I don't, even on the days you're getting snaked and it turns on shore, you're still wet and you're still having fun with your friends.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's this kind of like really nice, I don't know, like naivety about surfing where you can just go out and you're not going to have a bad day, you know. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, you know, I've torn my ACL and I've gotten hurt.
Right.
And you deal with egos every single day.
Right.
And there's very much bad days in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, like you're getting smashed and then the guy's being an ass.
Right.
And it's always, you're always negotiating that element of like you're fighting each other.
Right.
And like the testosterone and the guys are everyone's trying to prove themselves and flex on each other. And so it could be a little exhausting, you know?
Yeah.
So it's something I like. I love to do it, but surfing is never, like, I would say, not fun. Very, very rarely would I say, oh, that's horrible.
Right.
Because you can get a wave and it'll turn the whole session like awesome. You know?
Right.
And also, like, I think my surfing place now is like the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
Because I'm surrounded by, like, we have a great crew that we all go out with down in when we surf Bolsa and Huntington. Hailey is absolutely shredding now, so we surf like Doheny with the kids and trestles, and it's just tons of fun. So where we're at in terms of like the family and our friends in the water, it's just a blast. So we're right now in the middle of like our best probably surfing life, you know.
Awesome. So awesome to hear.
I just got off the phone with Eric. Like, we were supposed to meet up this morning.
Yeah.
He's a fireman, so he got off a little bit after us. Yeah. And, you know, you'll hear me and Tutu. I surf with him a lot, Eric. And we sound like a bunch of groms, man. Like, we're like, oh, my God, it's overhead. It's a little corner. And it's so fun, man. Like, it's just, like, it's just so fun. Even when we're all out there just sucking and just the biggest kooks in the water, like, it's so much fun. So, and now, honestly, like, there's been a lot of evolution in terms of the boards. Right. Where, like I said, like back to when we were talking about Kai and Chava and how big those big guys ripping. Yeah. Now I feel like a lot of shapers have dialed in like middleweights, like guys like me who I'm not super tall. I'm heavier for how small I am. Right. And boards that we should be on, and boards that, like, because remember in the 90s, right? Like, that was my first problem, was trying to ride those 90s surfboards that looked like elf shoe, right? They say elf shoe, and that rocker, and I remember, dude. I remember the first time I hopped on one of those things, and I went from a bodyboard or a longboard, one or the other, and I got on that thing expecting to paddle out. I couldn't move. I was literally like, whoa. Yeah. And it seemed like a lot of work to have fun on that board. Right. Yeah. So I think that now, like, post like the Rob Machado kind of era of like, let's go super wide, super fat, super flat. Right. And you got like all the fish having the resurgence, and now the mid lengths, and I think it's really a great time for surfing because, like I said, I agree. You know, one of my biggest critiques of my time in my place was that, like, when we were young, we were super judgmental. You know, like, we would make fun of something like that, or I think that's been a great a great progression in surfing is
Right.
people minding their own business and just surfing on whatever makes them have fun, you know?
Yeah. Definitely. You're not having to go and look at a board on a video or on TV and go, oh, that's what I should be riding. You know, you're riding what's actually more realistically functional for yourself.
Dude, you should have seen Andy Horry this morning. That kid, you know how short he is, right?
Yeah.
He's riding like a 6'2" twin fin, pretty thick.
Yeah.
Freaking shredding that.
Nice. Well, this has been a fun interview. We're definitely going to come back and go deeper into your jiu-jitsu history, which I really wanted to do, but it's like I find your journey so interesting that I wanted to take the time to do it slowly and do it right. I'm probably going to have Nelson help me with that and be involved because he's so great at like asking the right questions. But because you and I have been going back and forth even before this pandemic took place on surf, it's like I've found this love for it again, even though I don't surf. It's like I found this love. It brought me back to when I was surfing, you know, and my kids surf. My oldest son surfs. He's into it, you know.
Love it.
And so, yeah, man, it's like I just wanted to get your. I wanted to come in and, you know, just kind of get your spin on your experience, and it's been a great time.
Dude, I've loved it. And man, surfing is like kind of big in jiu-jitsu. Like,
right.
I don't know about like at the young like athlete level, but definitely at the black belt level, especially the Brazilian black belt level.
Right.
I've surfed with so many of these. Leo Vieira, he could surf. Like he's a stud grappler, but he could surf. Buchecha, there's videos of him at Surf Ranch getting like in and out barrels, man.
Right.
There's so many guys in, like, I think that's why a lot of them ended up like wanting to go out to Hawaii too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that I think it really works well with like the sensitivity. Like, so, you know how in jiu-jitsu, like it's like the fast drill and everything.
Right.
And then there's that flow of like understanding where to put your weight and to lean on someone and to give way. That's all surfing.
Right.
You know, so you see like how Eli Olsen rolls, like super technical, but his flow is really good. Like he's just moving into the positions that doesn't look like he's being super forceful. And so I think surfing is I think it's so great for jiu-jitsu.
Right. It definitely goes hand in hand for sure.
So the next step is going to be rod surfing. That's it.
I'm ready. You know what? Like I said, after talking to you and going back and revisiting all these videos and whatnot, it's like I'm ready, man. I'm ready to get out there now. You just let me know.
I will, because we got like dude, I'm telling you, when you surf with Tutu, that dude's a full grom. Like and dude, there's a guy who rips at skating.
Yeah,
rips
absolutely.
at woodworking.
Right.
And his surfing is like, I wish I had a quarter of the surfing talent of that guy, because I feel like every day I surf with him, he's a little bit better. Same with Hailey. I'm just like, I'm just watching the Hailey and Tutu show when I'm out now.
That's so awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to join you guys. I know I told you I would before. Wasn't too stoked on getting out in the cold water, honestly, and don't want to step on one of those stingrays. That's my nightmare. That's like the one thing that I'm just like, you know, and it's like I've heard everybody steps on those things. Like I just don't want to step on one of those things.
I hate them, dude. I hate them. It's been the biggest obstacle is teaching my sons to surf in like stingray water.
Right.
Because once they do, it takes a couple days for their fear to come back, you know?
Yeah. I have one more question I wanted to ask you before we leave is, once this self-quarantine thing gets lifted, what are you most looking forwards to?
Okay. I've been thinking about this actually all the time. I'd say like on a baseline, I would love for things to go back to like having the gym back open and just hanging out with people and rolling. I don't even necessarily care about the lesson. Just to have the room full and have that energy is very nice. But honestly, I would say the most immediate thing I'm looking forward to is just hanging out with people. Like just seeing you guys, not having to feel like scared to be around my friends or my family. And we haven't seen Haley's or my folks in months now.
Right.
Luckily we had that Big Island trip with Haley's mom and dad. But I think for me it's just seeing people and hanging out, whether it's at the gym, whether it's here. Trips are like on the horizon, but I just want to be able to like go out and like bump into someone and not have it be like super sketchy, like just getting rid of that element will be so much of a relief of knowing we're past that and we can all sit in the same car and drive to the beach and then go to the gym and hang out on the same mats and not have to be concerned about rolling with Chris Uman because he's a respiratory technician. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, I love you, man. But, like, I'm so over all that fear. And, and it is heavy, and we talked earlier, I take it so seriously. I treat it like it's all true. Like the worst case scenario is true. And it's just, I just want to hang out with my friends, and I'd love to barbecue. And I know we had that idea. We should do some Shakas barbecues at our gym and just have everyone together and have it be comfortable, and that's it. Like just whatever that is, barbecuing at Bronny's shop, there's so many people I just miss seeing. And I was so used to seeing them all the time. And it's not, and I still talk to Bronny and these guys, but I talked to Ziggy yesterday, but it's just not the same, So I would love to just hang out and just BS and have our stupid jokes and, just that's it. Just hanging out with people, So when that happens, and I know we can do that, then I'll breathe a big sigh of relief.
Absolutely. I feel your sentiment. Same thing, missing everybody at the gym and missing training with you guys. Most importantly, though, the people, for sure.
The people, dude. And so, but you know what? I'm going to have to step it up, man. I need to start working out or something, I haven't been doing all my homework, So.
Right.
But yeah, Rod, I will hit you up next time we surf, and we're going to figure this out.
Yeah, we will, definitely. I appreciate your time and you sharing all your stories with us. We're looking forward to, like I said, a future episode where we get a little bit more into the jiu-jitsu.
I'm down. Good.
But in the meantime, man, get out there and go get your workout on with their family.
Awesome, Rod.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right.
Drive, oh great big cat.